Hey, 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 what is up, everybody? My name is Michael, or Kiratze Online. How are you guys doing? Hopefully well, as usual. And I am back with another replay, Quickplay, just because I just reached Diamond with my hard Nova deck. If you guys haven't seen the deck tech for that, watch a couple videos back, and I'll also put a link to that video in on the screen right now, and you can take a look at the list and all that fun stuff. And yeah, I'm currently still on a 5-win streak with the deck, so that's cool. And good gosh, it's pretty fun. Again, I'm very surprised on how well it's working, especially the Deathblader. The single of Deathblader has actually been some pretty sweet turns. And so I will show you guys a game. I'll show you guys not the winning game, but I want to show you guys a Lyonar game that I played on my last couple of chevrons to Diamond. And just because it was a really good example of sort of how the deck plays out, especially against Lyonar. And it showcases sort of one of the reasons I really think it's pretty well matched up against the Lyonar. And yeah, let's just jump right into it. You guys know the deck list already. Oops, that's not right. Look at all those wins. So yeah, actually, how many wins do I have? I think it's a 5-win streak, right? I think that's what I was on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 5-win streak. Pretty sweet. Sadly, when they do updates, your old replays get totally knocked out. So that's sort of disappointing, but that's all right. Oh, this is my Diamond winning match. This was against a Swarm deck. This was actually a pretty good game as well. Maybe I'll record that too. But I like the Lyonar game. It's just a good example of how the deck plays out in the Lyonar matchup. Because you definitely encounter more Lyonars than you do Abyssians, I'm sure. So the reason why I think this is just a really good deck against a Lyonar, just because you have all the hard removal, and they're a slow enough deck that they don't do a lot of stuff in one turn anyways. So even though they usually always have card advantage over people just because they play really slow and they can get good 2-for-1s with like Holy Immolation and stuff like that, the deck plays out really slow, so they generally have a full hand. So this hand really sucks right off the bat. Now I had a choice here. We don't need the healing right now. We have plenty of healing in the deck, so no need to look for it now. I had a choice of just Night Terror Assassinating and killing this off, preventing him from getting the mana tile and possibly hitting me in the face. But I had a Twilight Sorcerer, and I thought maybe I could just play it. I wanted to get some value if I had to play just Twilight bare naked as a tempo play. So I just decided to use Grasp. Why not? Confuse the guy. I don't know. But I didn't want to not play anything. It doesn't feel very good, especially if I would have to use Twilight Sorcerer as a tempo play. At least I can get something out of it now. And I wouldn't be losing like that Grasp of Agony, because I would be getting... 100% I'm getting that back if I happen to play Twilight Sorcerer. So he's confused. I'm crying because I had a really crappy hand. What this also does is I would rather save Night Terror Assassin for something like a Silverguard Knight or something like that, because a Grasp of Agony by itself isn't going to kill something like a Silverguard. And it's very common for them to play a 2-drop and then just play Silverguard right on here. Many Lyonars do this. It's a pretty common thing, just to lock you down and keep up the pressure and take control of the mid game. So I draw into Ritual Banishing. Drawing into your hard removal is just good in the matchup, and you just want to make sure you have that removal on hand for Iron Cliffs. That's pretty much the only target you really care about, or anything else that's big. But generally, just getting locked down by an Iron Cliff is something you don't want to happen, because that's the only way they're going to have the best burst damage, sort of out of nowhere, I guess. So we have the Night Terror Assassin because I kept it, so we're able to use it to kill off this minion. Now, realistically, I should have just kept the Abyssal Crawler. This was a slight misplay, in my opinion. I think the way the deck's going to go, because Abyssal Crawler, especially when you have Ritual Banishing in hand, it's a cheap 4-mana, well, not cheap, but it's the cheapest way you'll get Ritual Banishing out, and I'm fine if he happens to go up and grab one of these mana tiles, because he would likely just play Ironcliff anyways. So it was sort of a mistake playing this. I was trying to deny him the mana tile, but in reality, I shouldn't have cared too much. I mean, it would prevent him from playing this and a 2-drop, so that's nice. But it's not as big of a deal as saving Abyssal Crawler and Ritual Banishing for that, that 4 mana answer to anything big. But we have hard removal. We're in pretty good shape. Our health is getting a little on the low side, but we're still in fairly good shape. So right here we have a sticky minion plus Ritual Banishing is perfectly fine when you're clearing their board. Again, Lyonar is sort of like Vanar, where it's just all about the board mostly. Usually you can just end up chipping away damage, and they end up hitting your face majority of the time just because they know they have a lot of healing also. So they'll chip away health themselves. Really, you're just worried about the board. I do hit him here. I know Lyonar can't do a ton of damage out of hand, especially with the amount of mana he has. So I'm perfectly fine with hitting him here, even though we don't have the health advantage. I know I have a ton of healing in the deck. So I do want to get some damage in when I can, because I still don't want, once I actually start getting my high-end cards, I don't want him to be at 25 health. That's just not going to be good news for anyone. So we get our Jaxi out. He can't reach it, and I contest the Mana Tile, so he has to choose whether or not he wants to go contest Jaxi or contest the Mana Tiles. He chooses to contest the Mana Tiles, and he gets rid of my Jaxi, but in a deck with Ritual Banishing, this isn't a bad idea. Because they dispelled this, it's largely going to go ignored. He doesn't know we have Ritual Banishing, but it's not like he's going to go out of his way to kill a 1/1 right in the corner. So we have almost an ever-present 1/1 threat there. And our deck isn't too susceptible to Tempest, since we don't have a lot of swarmy minions or anything like that, and we generally don't have too many minions on the board at once. Really, it's just our goal is keeping control of the board, just keeping their minion count low, and keeping it mono S, I guess. So I don't really have a good play here, and I wanted to save Dark Transformation for Iron Cliff, because I'm still worried about that card. And because we have the healing, I'm fine with just playing Twilight, getting spell back, and even if he Divine Bonds or something, it's not going to kill me. Double Divine Bond wouldn't kill me either. Yeah, that wouldn't kill me, right? 8, 13, 4. Yeah, Double Divine Bond wouldn't kill me either. So I'm perfectly fine with doing this. Still playing sort of the slow game. This also just gives us more answers to Iron Cliffs or anything big. And we have even more healing to catch back up. And as you can see, because of all of our healing and just him hitting us with his general, we already got him down to the same amount of health as we are, and we're in control of the board still. So this is exactly how you want to play it out. So he's a variant that's playing Alex Stormblade. Very, very sweet card. Good body, good effect for its mana cost. And luckily we do have the hard removal, and this is sort of the kind of thing that you like to do. You like to have sort of 1-for-1 answers, while usually sometimes getting more value, since we're using a 3 mana card to kill off a 6 mana card. I guess 4 mana in total if you combine sort of the mini Jaxi here, since that's going to be our target for killing off Alex Stormblade. I want to actually right here I use Dark Transformation, because this was a time where in a pinch, if he happened to overrun me in the future, I'd like to be able to do more things at once in the later games. And so while the game's still going on fairly slow, it's good to use your higher cost removal first, especially since with the rest of our board, we can deal with Silverguard Knight. Now, in retrospect, this was sort of another slight misplay. I should have just used my Wraithling here. Hit it with my general. But I sort of wanted to move a little bit. I think I move. Maybe not. But I end up healing Twilight Sorcerer. This makes it so he can't... It's not really in Holy Immolation range unless he hits it with his general. And again, with all the healing in our deck, I'm perfectly fine with healing my minions if it means I have more chance to gain control of the board. Especially now that we have one of our end game drops. He's getting really low on life, and we even have burn in our hand if we need to. We have ways to get back our removal or burn, and we have a hard removal spell for whenever he plays Ironcliff, because Ironcliff's going to take up most of his turn, and we have 2 good targets, potentially 3 for killing that off. So he does heal back up, a little bit worrisome. Decided to go his face because he has the health advantage now, and he heals up even more. We're still in an alright position, though. We're still on the proactive side of things, and I now have another way to pressure him. Now, I haven't seen really any martyrdoms or anything like that. I feel like early on he would have martyrdomed like my Twilight Sorcerer or something like that, while I still had while I had a fairly high amount of health still. So I'm fairly confident he doesn't have martyrdom. especially probably from what he's seen. He might not even be looking for Martyrdom right now. But it is one of their best removal spells, so I'm sure they keep at least one in their hand most of the game. So we have an easy answer to his Emerald Rejuvenator, a way for pressuring, and now we can still deal with everything that he has on board. So now we are a little bit susceptible to Tempest, but that's alright. I decided to move this back. There's really no reason to throw it into battle. A 1/1's not going to be the end of the world, and I'd rather still potentially have a target for Ritual Banishing if he happens to be able to place a 2-drop here and then Holy Immolate. That would take care of the whole board. A little bit poor positioning on my part, but, you know, positioning is something I'm just terrible at. It's something I really need to, like, focus on. So he does Tempest us. It clears the majority of our board away, but it does get us a little bit closer to killing him. We are still getting low on life ourselves, and especially with Arclight Regalias and things like that, and Holy Immolation, they can burst you down from under 10 health. But because I have the Twilight Sorcerer here, it does minion block, so he can't hit me, which is nice. And we have a bunch of hard removal still. Pretty odd that I haven't seen an Iron Clip yet, but maybe he thinks it's too slow, especially when we have board right now. And he has seen Ritual Banishings and things like that. So he's playing Arclight Sentinel. I really like the card in Lyonar. And he kills it off, gets board control, and it's a little bit scary now because we're at 9 health. If he Divine Bonds something like Azurite Lion, it'll kill us because that's 10 damage from just that card if it gets 2 attacks off. Which is a little bit scary. I tried to get my Grasp of Agony back with Twilight Sorcerer because we would have been able to clear his board and I would have been at a healthy life total. Sadly, we didn't. We got our Void Pulse back, which isn't terrible in retrospect considering that the life total that we have. So I have the option of playing Spectral Blade, killing this off, and then Ritual Banishing to kill off the Azurite Line and just keep board control. And that is what I opt to do. Alternatively, I could have just healed up and played Emerald Rejuvenator plus Void Pulse. That could have also been a good play. But at this amount of mana, if he happened to draw into something like double Holy Immolation or some weird combination like that, it would have been pretty bad for me. When you know what your opponent's playing and the possible bursts that they can have, you can play accordingly. And knowing that, forcing them to have to play a minion before they play Holy Immolation reduces the chance of you getting bursted down quite heavily. And so I decided to opt for the safer play and just get board control. This also still puts us into lethal range anyways. So again, you're a control deck. You want to be fairly reactive. Just plan ahead for the next turn. As long as you don't die the following turn and you're keeping board control, you're still in fairly good shape. And here comes one of my least favorite cards. Sadly, I used to always hate this card. As an Abyssian, I actually don't mind it as much anymore. Now that I know sort of how to play around it. And sort of, I thought it was super OP, but considering that it just needs the first 2 damage, it only counts the first damage. So if you have a mini Jax and you poke him, that counts as the first initial damage, and it just reduces that. So anything after that's going to hit for full amount. And we do have lethal here. I wasn't 100% sure how it worked with 2 Arclight Regalias, so I just decided to go for it. Use a Void Pulse to take off the trigger of... Oh, there'll be a short interruption while we deploy a hotfix. Hopefully it doesn't interrupt this video. And so I opt to just use the Void Pulse, take rid of the charge. Twilight Sorcerer comes in, hits for 3. It brings me down to 5, and thanks to our little friend Abyssal Crawler, our initial Shadow Nova is actually 5 damage rather than 4. So I actually think that Abyssal Crawler early in the game was what helped me win this turn, because I don't think I would have won this. I mean, I could have bought a lot of time because I had quite a bit of healing in my deck, but still. It's always nice when you draw into that lethal. And then Shadow Nova to finish him off. So yeah, just keep that in mind for any Abyssian players who really hate Arclight Regalia. It's not that bad. You generally have a lot of ways to poke damage and get rid of it. And here's the other bug. I actually probably should send this report in. If you win with Shadow Nova in a replay, I don't think the game actually ends. I think I don't know. It's probably a bug. I don't know if it's just with Shadow Nova, but I think my last replay had that as well. But that was the game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to check out the links in the description below. My Twitter, my Twitch, and my blog, which I don't really use anymore, but hopefully I can get some stuff up in the future. It would be nice to get back into the blogging aspect of things. And I just hit Diamond, so I'm going to probably make some decking around episodes as well, since I hit the milestone, so I don't have to worry about my rank at rank 5. I can just play things, and if it wins, awesome. If it doesn't, well, I don't have as much of a loss, because I get terrible ladder anxiety. It's fairly irrational, but I hate seeing my rank go down, because every time you go down, it's like, oh well, you got two steps to go to get just one up from where you originally were. So it's a little disheartening, but it's okay. We play for fun. That's all that matters, and this deck is very, very fun. So again, if you guys are into this list, make sure to check out the deck tech if you haven't seen it, if you want to write down the cards or copy the list and tweak it to your own liking. But if not, no worries. Make sure to subscribe for more decking around episodes, quick replays, and other fun Abyssian stuff. And I know I always say this, but I don't know when I'm going to get around to other stuff other than Abyssian, but hey, I have way too much fun with Abyssian. I guess I'm just an Abyssian main, that's all. But I should definitely try some of the other classes every once in a while. I do some of the other classes for quests and stuff like that, but that's probably about it. But anyways, I rambled long enough. Take care, you guys. Have a great night, day, morning, wherever you are, and I will talk to you guys later.